What's good, YouTube? It's your boy DJ LiftOFF with the JP Way, and you don't want to miss this flight. In today's video, we'll be doing a quick overview of the Hercules DJControl Inpulse 300. First of all, huge shout out to Hercules for sponsoring this video, and without further ado, let's hop right into it.
All right, DJs, if you're looking for a beginner-friendly DJ controller at a very affordable price, this is going to be one of your best options. I'll be explaining some of those beginner DJ features in just a moment, but before that, I just want to mention that this controller does use a specific software that's only compatible with this controller. It is called Juiced. It's very, very easy to install. Also, it is USB powered, so all you have to do is go straight from your controller to a laptop and you're all good to go. Now, we're gonna start off with the platters. Now, these platters, I would say, are more on the heavier side than the light side, but for me personally, it's like the perfect in between. They're very, very fluid, easy to go forward and pull back. I actually prefer a little bit more on the heavier side. Of course, some people may say they're more on the lighter side. It's going to be very dependent on the particular person, but I think it's very, very fluid and very, very durable feeling. Now, moving right below that, we have some different buttons here. Here we have the vinyl. Of course, when this is enabled, it allows us to scratch. When it's disabled, it acts more as a forward and rewind feature. Here we have our in and out for loops. We also have our slip function, and we have our quantize here. Right below that, we have all of our pads, as well as our buttons, our shift, which allows us to do things like undo or delete a cue point, such as that. We can also set a cue point just by clicking here with hot cue. We also have our sync, our cue, and our play button. I will be going over some of these features, but not all of them in this particular video. Moving to the right, we have our tempo right here, our tempo slider. Now, this is a little bit shorter, as you can see, but one great thing about the Juice software is it does allow you to pretty much decide how much you want to be able to go up and down percentage wise. So right now I have it set to 33%, which is going to allow me to go slower by 33% as well as faster by 33%. But most importantly, this tempo slider is very, very fluid. It also has just a little illuminated green light when you're perfectly centered in the middle at your original tempo. Moving over to the right, we also have our faders. These are also pretty fluid. I definitely like the way these feel. Now, moving right below the faders, we have our crossfader. This is also very fluid, just like the other faders, like the fader and the tempo slider. I can definitely see this being a good scratch DJ controller. I can see myself doing some easy transformers as well as some crabs as well. Right above that, we have our beat match guide, which I'll be explaining very shortly. We also have our master, which is going to be our cues for our headphones. Also have our individual cues on the side here, our headphones knob, master knob. We have filters, which is always great to have on your DJ controller, as well as our EQs, low, mid, and high, in our gain. Now let's go ahead and hop into these features that make this controller extremely beginner friendly. Now, the first thing you're going to notice at the top is we have this energy right here, and right below that we have assistant. So when you go ahead and analyze all your tracks in your different libraries, to do that we could just hold command on the Mac and then Control A if you have a Windows. And then if we just right click, we can go ahead and analyze by BPM, key, energy, or all. So in this particular playlist, I've already gone ahead and done that. So if we go ahead and right click right on this gray bar as well, we can enable our energy column. So in that energy column, each track that you decide to analyze and give it an energy, the higher values like 5 is going to mean high energy, and then the lower values are going to mean more lower energy as far as each track. So if I go in here and I go ahead and find a 5 Motorsport, I'm going to load that on the left deck. Actually, it's already loaded. I'm going to go ahead and just fade this out. Now, when I start playing this track, you can see that this illumination around the browser knob is orange. So that's going to represent energy 5. So anytime I'm playing something with an energy of 5, it's going to keep that orange light. So I think this is very, very cool because as you're playing, you can always know exactly what energy you're at. So for example, if I actually go to a 4, I'm going to go ahead and load something with a 4 and play that. now you can see that it's yellow. So if you're one of those people who are very visual, you can always know that you're in that same type of energy, tempo, or range or vibe just by looking at this illuminated light at the top. Now, if we go ahead and click assistant right below that, we have a little menu that comes up on the right. Now, essentially what this is telling us is, hey, these are some other songs that are matching the vibe of your party or of your event, and these might be some good songs to play next. So if we cycle through these, we have 5 tracks that the Juice software is actually going to assist us and recommend to us. Now, we can also change these settings here. As you can see here, we have the source, tracks display. I'm going to change that to 10. We can do our entire collection or the current selection. We can show played tracks. I'm going to leave that unchecked, and then we can select to actually use energy. So you can set this up. As you can see here, now we have 10 tracks. So you can set this up however you best see fit. Now, returning to that beat match guide, as you can see, if we turn this off, we can see that some of these lights start illuminating. These lights here right under the platter, as well as some of the lights on the tempo slider. So if we go ahead and re-enable that, we'll see those illuminate again. So essentially with this beat match guide, we're going to be able to beat a line very, very easily because our software or our hardware is going to tell us exactly if we're too fast or if we're too slow. So if I go ahead and play both of these tracks and they're a little bit out of sync, you can see this light here illuminate. And what this is telling me is to go forward a little bit on this track. So as I start scrubbing forward, you can now see that that light actually goes off. So that right there is going to be extremely helpful, again, for visual DJs who can literally see, hey, this track isn't perfectly beat aligned. Maybe I need to speed it up or I need to slow it down. So now vice versa, the other light will light up if we need to go the other direction. So now we can see this side is lit. So now we're going to have to actually slow this down a little bit. And then once we slow it down to the right mark, you can see that the light actually goes away in entirety. So it's going to show you if you need to speed up. It's also going to show you if you need to slow down. Now, one extra feature in addition to beat align are these actual lights right here. As you can see, we're aligned perfectly at the original tempo. So this is illuminating green, but we can also see we have a arrow going up and an arrow going down. Essentially, those are arrows, I would say, which is going to tell you if your track isn't at the right tempo. So if I zero out the volume and go ahead and play those again, you can see that this is illuminated saying slow this down a little bit. So as I start slowing this down, you can see that our goal is to get to 69. Right when we get to 69, that a little illuminated light actually goes away. As you can see, we also see that this light is on. So this means that we need to speed this track up. Once we speed it up, that light goes away. And then you can see that we need to go just a little bit further. And now we're perfectly on beat. As you can see in the software, those are lining up. Now, one thing to keep in mind is you always want to edit your beat grids so your beat match guides and your beat aligns are going to be correct. So right here, I have my first cue point set right at the downbeat in the beginning of this track. So if it's not at the downbeat, you're going to want to actually set it so it is. So if we go ahead into deck 2, we click 2, we're going to hit edit beat grid. Now this line right here is going to set the downbeat. So let's just say that this was off a little bit. And as you can see, now this red line isn't at the downbeat. All you're going to want to do is line up your track right at the beginning, like so. Then you can go ahead and hit this line and it's going to bring it right to that downbeat. Now you're all good to go. Make sure you have your cue point as well set up right at the beginning. Now when you use beat align, it'll be able to align it correctly. So those are the beginner features of this controller that I think are amazing and really will help beginner DJs if you need just a little bit of guidance as far as how to beat align or just ensuring that your tempos are always at the same tempo so you don't end up playing a track at different tempos. Now, a few more things that I just wanted to show you all was this tone play right here. So if we hold shift and then hit hot cue, we can go to tone play. So what this is essentially going to do is change the tones based on the cue point. So right now we're right at the beginning. So if I go ahead and play this, you can see that that's the original pitch. But now if we click 2, it's gonna go up in tone. And if you look in the software, we can see right here that it's at +1. Now, if we hit 3, it's gonna go up some more. And 4, it's gonna go up even more. Now, if we go to the bottom pads, it's gonna go down in tone. So that's a way you can use some tone play in your songs. Then of course we have our roll, we have our slicer, we have our sampler, and we have our beat jump. Beat jump essentially is going to go back 1 beat if we press here. It's going to go forward 1 beat if we press here. So you can go ahead and look in the software. We have back 1 beat, up 1 beat, back 2 beats, up 2 beats. And these are going to correspond with these pads here. So then that bottom row is going to be back 4 beats, up 4 beats, back 8 beats, up 8 beats. So that's how we're going to use that there. And then one last thing that I wanted to show you all was the sampler. To use the sampler, what you're going to have to do is you're going to go into this top left and you're going to hit 4 decks. You can definitely use horizontal or vertical. But now if we go over to the left and we hit sampler, we have a sample pack that's already loaded within the Juice software. Now, if we go ahead and load this shots and beats right on number 4, with sampler already selected, we can actually use some of these samples. And as you can see, you can change the volume on each of these as well. You also have a settings section in here. So for each of these, you can change the type or the way that you want to trigger these, like how they're going to start, how they're going to stop, all of that good stuff. You can change those directly in there. So that is pretty much it for that. I'm going to go back and go to 2 decks. So essentially that is the Impulse 300 Hercules controller in a nutshell. Again, super duper affordable. The link will be in the description. Everything is super fluid. In some of these next videos, I'll be showing you all some scratch patterns, how to mix with this controller as well. If you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button as well as that subscribe button, and I'll catch y'all in episode number 2.